Well, here we go. Welcome back on the show, and we get into tariff hikes and what exactly the latest development is. Bernice?
Definitely, Benjamin. Good morning to you and good morning to everyone who's joined us on your TV or on your mobile phones. Today we are having the big tariff debate, and we've been doing this for a couple of days now, but it's gotten to that point where the PURC is beginning to engage consumers,
Right.
the general public, if I may say. So let's start the journey to where we are now. So it started with the PURC inviting proposals from utility companies, and then the utility companies submitted their proposals to PURC. So that was the point where we heard ECG saying they wanted 148%,
Right.
and the Ghana Water Company over 300%. And it's gotten to that point now where the PURC is holding consultative meetings with stakeholders over proposals. We know the AGI and the utility providers were met first.
Right.
Then we have the public engagement. There have been a couple this week in Accra, and later it would happen in other regions. So after all those meetings, PURC will then have to find the balance. Because Benjamin, you know, we've been talking about the reasons these utility providers have been given.
Right.
ECG says, look, we're almost bankrupt. We need the money for our operations. The Ghana Water Company Limited says, look, last year we only made half of our cost. Who caters for the next? So we also need the money. And if you want us to serve you better, you need to pay the right tariff. Then there's the people who say, we're already burdened. Increased cost of transportation, fuel prices going high. So PURC finds itself in the middle ground, and we'll have to find a balance.
Yeah. And that balance is going to be tricky. Part of it is self-inflicted.
Yeah.
From the days of large subsidies or subsidization, from the Rawlings era, and the realization we had at a point that, look, this is not sustainable. To where we are now, where in terms of diversifying our utilities, focusing, for example, on electricity. We've not done so much. When it comes to water, add the problem of galamsey to the mix, and you have a huge problem even when it comes to getting muddy water, extracting water from mud, so to speak. So it's a pretty tricky situation, but at the same time, there are so many components to digest, like you're saying. The utility companies like ECG are talking about, and we'll get to them, but they are talking about the fact that it is simply unsustainable. The ordinary Ghanaian, you and I, were also caught in the crossfire because, especially those in the public sector, salaries have not increased, the economy has shrunk in a bit, and the cost of living. So how are we going to merge all of that?
Yeah, and there are those who say, ECG, fix your inefficiencies, and then you can begin to make more money. Talk about the agencies that owe you. Talk about the many people who are connected illegally, who aren't paying for the service that they are tapping into. So it's just a mixed bag of issues. But let's continue with our presentation here. So this is the proposed tariffs by ECG from what we have now to 2026. And we are sourcing this from the PURC. So currently, per Ghana pesos per kilowatt hour, you have 16.12. That's the current tariff you pay for. In 2022, we are hoping to take it to 39.44 Ghana pesos per kilowatt hour. 2023, 44.55. So you can see the upward trend. It's not going down anytime soon. So that's it, Benjamin. So like some will say, we need to brace ourselves. And we know labor unions, worker groups like NAGRATS, they are all saying, you know what, even with inflation, increase our salary. So I'm sure with this happening, many more unions may want to get an increase in their salaries. Yeah.
And Bernice, even before you get into the percentages, it is clear. When you look at inflation, you look at the shocks to the economy, you look at the cost of everything, of course, that also feeds into inflation. You look at the e-levy, you look at everything else happening, and then you slap utility tariff hikes on that. There are some people who have not seen an increment in their salaries for at least 5 years. What are such people going to do? Everything has changed. And with the sort of rapidity when it comes to the change of the cost of items on the market today, regardless of what you're looking at, whether it's spare parts for vehicles, food that you're going to consume, everything, clothes. So it's a very, very tricky situation.
So today we are doing something different when it comes to taking the microphone to our audience, Benjamin, and we are going to the regions. I'll come and tell you more on what these tariff means to you in terms of what you pay per kilowatt hour. But let's get Ivy Setaji, who is joining us from the Volta region. Hello, Ivy.
Hello, Bernice. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to have you. Tell us what are people in the region saying with regards to the proposed tariff hikes?
Well, actually, it appears the people in the region are getting frustrated, according to them, because of the proposed tariff. They are saying that their salaries have not been increased. Some of them are also saying the economy is hard, and with all the things going on, if they increase the tariff, it's going to be harder or very, very hard for them to cope. And so some of them are appealing to government or the authorities to do something about the situation, especially to the ordinary person on the street who doesn't have much and have to, pay that amount for tariffs. So it appears many people in the region are frustrated about the issue. And well, for now, according to them, there's nothing they can do. They can only pray and hope that something is done about the situation.
All right. Thank you, Ivy. Ivy joins us from the Volta region. Ivy Setaji is our correspondent. Let's head to...
Maybe before you let go of Ivy. Ivy, are you still there?
I'm here.
Right. So how about the explanation that, look, pay us more so we can do better for you? There are many parts of the country, even in the Volta region, that are not connected to the electricity grid, and some places that are getting poor quality service. They are saying, pay us more and we'll do more for you. How are the people reacting to that?
Well, yes, of course. They also agree with the same thing. They want to be paid more so that they can also do what they have to do. But more especially, they are more frustrated. They don't see the reason why they should do the increment. They want a better explanation. They also want to be maybe a public education so that those people who are not, who do not understand, may be able to, especially the ordinary person, excuse me to say, the illiterates, when you go to the towns, the rural communities, they don't understand these things. What happens to them? So they want education to be done, public education, so that people can understand. But they also want authorities to do something about the situation.
Right. Ivy there, Bernice, giving us some scope on that matter.
Yes, let's head to the Western region now. Hello, Ina. How are you doing? And what are residents of the region saying about these proposed hikes?
Hi, Bernice. I'm fine. So, Bernice, in the Western region, when it comes to the increments in utilities, people are complaining bitterly, especially in this region where, for instance, water has not been flowing in most parts of the communities for over 5 months. So people ask that now if they say they are increasing the tariffs, for instance, water, is it going to be better? And over the years, it has been the case that, the water situation would improve even when there is an increment, but nothing better comes out of it. And to top it up with the current economic situation, residents are really frustrated. You speak to people and they are like, now it's not about you even thinking about having a balanced diet, but you have to just put something in your mouth, and everything has increased when it comes to rent, when it comes to food, when it comes to a standard of living. And to top it up with utilities, they feel that better the government can step in and then speak on behalf of the citizens, because this is the situation that, their salaries are not being increased, but everything is skyrocketing each and every day. So they are really frustrated. They feel that increments in utilities would add up another burden to them. Because trust me, Dennis, you cannot get like a better accommodation. Let's say if you want a good accommodation, you cannot get it even around 250 here in Takoradi, even for a single room. And so you can understand the way residents here are feeling now at the moment.
Interesting, Ina. I'm told that the PURC will be coming to the Western region sometime next week for the engagement. Are you aware of this?
Yes, I have been told. Earlier this year, the PURC, the director, came around to meet some companies like the Ghana Water Company, ECG, VRA, to have an interaction with them. Hopefully, residents are hoping that there will be a stakeholder meeting where they would be engaged so that they can really understand them. Because, Dennis, especially with water, it's frustrating here in the Western region. Some 5 months, some even areas like a hilly area like Windy Ray, since last year, November, has not had water flowing. But here the residents say that they even send them utility bills every month. So if there is an increment, what are they increasing for?
And do you have a response from the Ghana Water Company Limited on this issue?
Dennis, can you come again?
I was asking the issue of residents not being served but given bills at the end of the month. Is there a response from the Ghana Water Company Limited?
Yes, so the PR in Anabania says that if you are a resident in areas where there are no water flowing and you receive bill, you should come to them and then let them explain and see what is really happening. But then tell me, how many residents can march to their office in the name of going for explanations to why they are receiving bills and their water is not flowing? They say that because of illegal mining that they are not able to get water. It's because they have machines which are over 50 years and over, absolute, and so they need to change some of their equipment. And they also say because of the dry season, they are not able to get enough water to, distribute to residents within this region.
All right, Ina, we'll leave it here. Thank you for sharing what's happening in the Western region with us. So, Benjamin, Ina paints a picture that resonates with quite a lot of people in this country that's not having access to water constantly. So there are those who know, for example, that between the hours of 6 and 12, my taps will flow. And so I must store as much as I can, because after that, the next time I'm getting water is in the next 2 days around the same time frame.
Right.
So
it's a bit of a rationing system, isn't it?
Yes, yes,
but it feeds into part of the reasons that the Ghana Water Company Limited, for example, has been citing when it comes to the need for tariff increments. And it talks about the inability of the company to raise enough revenue to finance much needed capital investment projects. These are some of those areas that don't have connectivity to the water supply chain, if you like, or those that are, that have equipment that needs upgrading or some work done on it. So these are very important matters as well. And again, you would have to look at it from both sides. But like we've been saying, it will take the PURC's own engagement for us to determine what levels these increments should go to. But from there, we'll be moving to other regions as well. We'll be connecting shortly with some of our other correspondents in the regions.
Yeah, but I think we should just run through and finish our presentation on the big tariff debate. So,
so this time it is ECG.
Yes, this time is on ECG. What does the proposed tariff mean to you as a consumer? So the volume of consumption, so if it's 50
in kilowatts
hours, you're paying 8.06 Ghana cedis currently. If the proposed tariff is approved, you'll be paying 19.72 cedis. If you have,
That's what?
Yeah.
Over 200%.
yeah, that's quite on the high side. And if your volume of consumption is 100 units per kilowatt hour, then you're going to have 16.12 cedis, or it is currently, I beg your pardon, 16.12 cedis. You're going to have to pay 39.44. If it's 400, it's currently 64.48, but you're going to have to pay 157.76, Benjamin.
Right, so it's actually at over 100% for the 19.72, which is in consonance with what the ECG has been asking for. But when you look at the price differentials, so 100 kilowatt hours from 16 cedis 12 pesos to 39 cedis and 44 pesos, that is more than double.
Yeah,
You
the
know, 400 cedis,
Yeah.
you're looking at what? 400 kilowatt hours
Units,
consumed.
yeah.
You're looking at 64 cedis currently, or 65 to approximate, which will now become 158 cedis approximately. And you ask yourself, how are we going to fork out these sums of money from our pockets? The reality being that we must pay for what we get, especially if we want better service. But the question is, how do we get that kind of money into our pockets so we can fork them out to the ECG, to the Ghana Water Company Limited, to NETCO, to the VRA, and all of that?
It reminds me of
murky.
that conversation we had with Mr. Jantua, who says, you know what, these utility providers have been saying we haven't paid enough over the years for what we've consumed. So let's risk it. Let's give it to them what they want and see if anything will improve.
Because it's not even just about matrai makwe, so to speak. Let's try it and see. It's about the availability of the funding for a large segment of the people to even accommodate the changes. Do you get what I mean? Some people are already struggling. Look, my water bill comes sometimes, and I ask myself, what exactly have I been spending? You know, this money on. It's a bit tricky. That's for most people. But anyway, let's get into the conversation with some of those from the regions. We have Rafiq Salam joining us from what thereabouts. Rafiq, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Benji.
Right. So I am here with Bernice as well. We just want to find out how have people responded to the proposals by the ECG and the Ghana Water Company Limited, especially when it comes to these tariff hikes in WA?
I can report to you that Benjamin and then Bernice, that the people of the Upper West region are not reacting differently. They are much against the tariff hikes. Because for them, they think that they are not getting the best of services from these utility companies. Talking about the erratic water supply and also the power that normally goes off unannounced. Talking about the forced power outages, and so for them, they think that it isn't the best. Some of them also complain that they have been paying for these tariffs, talking about these community street lighting and whatever. But their street lights are malfunctioning. They're not even working. Even in the one municipality here, it was some 3 weeks ago that we got some parts of what lighted up in the streets. And so the people are disapproving it, and they're not really happy the way things are going. And so they think that if there's going to be any increment, they will still not get the best. For them, they think that it's work done equals to zero.
What about water?
I've just spoken to you about water. You know, I can tell you that the past 3 months, 3 months in the one municipality here, we have water from the Jamboso area. Talking about the black water. We've gotten power supply to the one municipality suspended a couple of times. The Ghana Water Company that came out with an announcement about some 40 systems around that particular area. And let me even tell you that even on the Eid al-Fitr, that very day that people were supposed to celebrate Eid al-Fitr, even there was no water, and that even more angered the people in the municipality here, because they are thinking that they are paying for these services, but yet they are not even getting it. Surprisingly, some community members were also not happy. Even this water that was not coming, but you have sea of personnel from the Ghana Water Company that go around to collect tariff collect money from them. And so they were not really happy with some of these situations. My water is not coming out, but you are here to collect what? And so the people are really angered about that, and even the timing was not the best for them.
And so how do residents of Wa access water?
Like I told you, we are using the water project, who data from the Jamboso, talking about the black water around the Jurumo area, talking about the western part of the.
I'm asking, I think, Rafiq, I'm asking in the absence of water provided by the Ghana Water Company Limited, how do you access water then?
People are using boreholes, private boreholes. They are used to, they have drilled for themselves. And even some are even doing it on commercial purpose. So, the other option is water that's being given to them by the Community Water and Sanitation Agency, but which is also built.
Thank you very much, Rafiq Salam. My colleague joins us from Wa, painting a picture of how residents there have been reacting to the proposed hike in tariffs for water and electricity. Like I mentioned earlier, the PURC will be continuing its engagement with the public, and so we'll be hearing more on this. But before we went to Rafiq, we were showing you what the figures are in terms of what you consume, 50 kilowatts hour, and then what it translates into Ghana cedis now and what it will translate later.